What's up, everybody? I am Rocco, and this is Buddha Jen. And I met him in a park, and I saw him doing movement, and it magnetized me towards him. And I wanted to learn what it was, and I come to know it's Shaolin Kung Fu. So this is going to be a video series where we go into the depths and maybe the surface about what Kung Fu is. And I feel like that's a good place to start. What is Kung Fu?
Kung Fu is literally time and energy, or actually energy and time. But the translation of it means that everything you do is some amount of work or effort, and it's in a certain amount of time. So everything is Kung Fu, even sleeping, standing, sitting. So Kung Fu is literally everything we do. So by calling the martial art Kung Fu, that's kind of more of a nickname that it kind of like Xerox, maybe photocopying or something like that. But Kung Fu really means time and energy. So when I teach Kung Fu, I teach it with the principle that everything I do is going to affect how you spend your time and energy doing everything else. So good Kung Fu is supposed to make everything good. Now, if you're learning to be mean and nasty and vicious and angry, then we could call that time and energy, and it could even be Kung Fu, but is it good Kung Fu? Well, if you're going out to battle the next day and you're going to beat people and kill them or something, then maybe you got to make people into ugly monsters, which is another reason why I'm anti-war and hoping that I can actually diminish war by diminishing violence. Now, the reason I love Kung Fu is that because we all have violent tendencies inside of us. We all have aggression, we all have anxiety, we all have stress that builds up every day. So Kung Fu, for me, has become this outlet for my aggression, for any kind of natural animal instincts I might even have. Any satisfaction I get of supposedly imagining hurting someone else, I literally do it when I'm practicing my Kung Fu. So when I'm doing a move, I'm grabbing an arm and boom, and then I kind of, in a way, I've gotten out that aggression. Instead of actually punching a wall, I punched a molecule of air. It's a little less destructive, I'd like to think.
Is that kind of an idea of transmutation? Like you're transmuting the energy that could otherwise be maybe harmful or destructive? Or
I don't know if I'd use the word transmute. I did have a phrase in the 90s. I called it dancing with your aggression. In other words, I think everybody, like I said, has aggression. Now, if you can dance with that and use that energy to fuel you, and then you burn it off, it's gone. You put it out into the universe as a positive artistic thing.
When you see Kung Fu portrayed in, like, we'll just call it pop culture, where do you feel like they've gotten it right and where do you feel like they're off?
Oh, God, they're 90% off. America is 90% wrong about what Kung Fu is. Like I said, it's time and energy. It's not boxing. It's not really even sparring. The original founder of Shaolin Kung Fu is, like I said, fighting has existed for thousands and thousands of years. Shaolin Kung Fu is just one particular place where a lot of people with knowledge it became a repository, kind of a university of martial arts is really what happened. And so the Kung Fu that developed there kind of developed in a natural way, and we'll go through the history and I'll tell you how it developed. And there's a certain, my Kung Fu that I teach is really kind of a time capsule the way the Shaolin Temple was 1,000 years ago. And that's kind of, if you freeze that and kind of like come up with some sort of romantic concept for it, like we do the cowboys here in America, it's not really as romantic as it seems, but you come up with a nice concept for that 1,000-year period and the Kung Fu that existed, and boom, that's where I'm trying to duplicate that reality. And that's why when I build my Shaolin Temple, I want to make it look like a temple 1,000 years ago, and really nice and everything, and not necessarily hold to a lot of the protocols, but allow everybody to understand the respects and the traditions. I want Confucianism, Buddhism, Taoism, all the traditions of China to kind of be represented in my Shaolin Temple.
Beautiful. What is, I've heard that, we talk about a little bit, what is Wu Wei? And what's the difference between Wu Wei and Kung Fu?
I'm not really one to probably break that down for you because I haven't spent much time really talking about it, dealing with Wu Wei. Tell me what your concept of Wu Wei is, and I'll kind of give you my...
I don't think I really know what Wu Wei is. I've seen it portrayed in like a Bruce Lee, there's a book that I came across, and his Jeet Kune Do philosophy talked about Wu Wei, and as I've received it, and I currently have it in me. So as I've my general, and I know that it's not thoroughly constructed as an idea, but my current feeling of what Wu Wei is something about this middle path of being formless, being resistancelessness, and then having this opponent come at you, instead of meeting it as an opponent, using its energy towards you and pulling it away. Kind of like I think it's the idea of like a Aikido, like someone's punching you, instead of resisting it or meeting it as a denial force, you're pulling it with it and using its energy against it.
Oh, these are all martial arts techniques. I'm not sure if I want to really make a religion out of it, but
Right.
I think, why don't we talk about something I'm more, I mean, I understand your concept, but if the Wu Wei, if it's the concepts of doing nothing and deflecting and being water, these are all just the many flavors of movement, shall we say, and reacting to movement. So to me, they're not really that special. They're all just part of the mix. In other words, I think it's important to sometimes, like you said, something that's an energy's coming to you, just get out of the way of it, you know, and then you can just kind of divert it really easily. But there's other times when the right thing to do is just attack. So it's not like I live by any particular philosophy or try to embody anything as a lifestyle, because sometimes you're attacking, sometimes you're retreating, sometimes you're moving sideways. So I'd like to think of more everything being a vocabulary you pull from, rather than any particular style you identify with.
Yes. So Kung Fu is a way of life. It's a lifestyle.
That's a very important thing too. And it's not really what you do by just going to a gym, putting on gloves, hitting and kicking someone, and then going home. That wasn't the Kung Fu class.
Yeah.
Kung Fu class is everything you do all day long in terms of developing, well, okay, let's take your Tai Chi lesson.
Yeah.
When I'm teaching you this Tai Chi lesson, I'm teaching you how to move your hands. I'm teaching you how to breathe. I'm teaching you how to move. And then
Overall being.
and then I said your feet have to do certain things. So all of these components are going together. I'm not really trying to say that movement is any one particular thing. It's a blending of all this. And Kung Fu is a matter of isolating all the little things you're doing sometimes so you can put them back together. In the movie about Wong Jack Man, what was that? Birth of the Legend, I think. There was a scene. Birth of the Dragon. There, he was a scene where he was in the kitchen. He was cooking. Remember, he was playing with everything. He was being artistic with it, and that's what Kung Fu does. When I wash the dishes, I'm usually standing on one leg or doing something interesting, you know, to bring more to it. And if you can bring that to life, when I'm standing there getting gas, sometimes I try to stand in a forward stance or something, you know, to just use my body instead of just kind of standing there and locking my bones. You know, I could do something more dynamic and use my body and enjoy that moment more.
Yeah. This goes back to why I walked up to you that day. I saw you moving, and it didn't look like I've seen people move like karate, and it just looks uninteresting to me. It looks stiff. It looks rigid. It looks Western to me, honestly, and like overly masculine, like this idea of a fighter and like these fists and hands and like these mechanical movements. And I saw you moving, and it felt like nature. It felt like masculine and feminine. It felt like I saw yin and yang. I also, and I've told this to other people about meeting you, is that I knew that you were a man, you know, above the age of 50, but you were moving as if you were like a 20-year-old, and it was this lightness, and it was this like poise in the body, and I was like, that's Kung Fu. It felt like Kung Fu. What about what I saw is Kung Fu?
I think that, thank you. And I'm glad to know that I do embody Kung Fu after doing it for 37 years. But the point being is that the original Kung Fu that I teach, they had 5 animals in it for additional inspiration. They had great movements and stuff, but they used these 5 animals. Now, these have been kind of misconstrued and abominated since then, but the 5 animals were for inspiration. So the crane was to teach you how to use the bigger movement. In other words, you don't want to just be in here like this all the time. In other words, be out here like this, and how you can do the bigger movements in order to deflect or attack even, and intimidate. All right, now speaking of dragon, there goes one. I just heard it. Okay, but yes, and the dragon in China is not the same dragon that we have in Europe. It's not a flying gecko. It's really not. It's something more spiritual than that. They actually called it, in the 70s when I first started, they called it the God Dragon. I don't hear people saying that, but it was the Chinese people, they called it God Dragon. In other words, they didn't see it as an animal dragon, it was a God Dragon. It was a mystical creation. It was a being that could travel between planets. When you see a shooting star at night, those are dragons playing catch. So that's the dragon in Kung Fu. So when you're not trying to be, you know, a T-Rex, you really think of yourself as some spiritual, godly animal or being that can actually manifest and distribute energy. So that's an inspiration in itself. And then, okay, so we got 2 animals. The third one, we can say, is the snake. Now the snake teaches you, what I like to do is I get somebody who's really big. Some guy will come into me and he's a big, big type of guy. So I'm going to make you a snake. He's already a tiger. He can go, "Arr," and that's one of the other animals. He's got that animal down because that's just his body. So my goal is to find something that's the antithesis of that. And when he can do the full range, then like you say, he can move kung fu. So I try to find you, I wanted you to be able to move your opposites, you know. And so to finish that off, the leopard is the animal I've been working on for the last 3 years. I've been studying leopard for over 30 years and I'm still mastering it. Just to give you an idea of how inspiring these animals really are. I have not fully mastered the leopard. The leopard uses gravity and it can re-divert it. I've got this cat and I've been studying my cat for years. And I've been amazed at watching him use energy and motion. And he can run at a tree and then effortlessly just climb up. It's like, what? You know, it's not like, he just like shoots up. He uses the momentum and the grab. And so that's what I'm mastering. So that's an animal that's still inspiring me right now. And then, what did I leave off? We got
So it's crane, dragon, tiger, leopard,
snake.
snake.
We got them?
That's 5.
So there's our 5 animals. And so if you can use these, I didn't really explain this. I said I'm a big guy, but the idea here is to use your whole body as one. In other words, I'm going to punch the camera with this toe, no, with this finger. So I want the energy to kind of move all the way through my whole body. So your whole body is like the snake. You kind of think of coiling up and then uncoiling. And so that gives you a whole different type of movement than this. Like you were saying, the stiff movement of karate. So now I'm thinking about how to be a snake and be able to get into soft parts. You know, the snake's not going to, we're not always attacking the chin, you know. I'm going to be trying to just get to the leg here, you know, and he's going to go, you know, and then he can't run, and I'm running, you know. So all you got to do is be able to hurt somebody in the leg and run away, and you won the fight. You know, it's not a matter of punching each other in the face till somebody falls asleep. That's kind of stupid, you know. But anyway, I really appreciate that. Let's keep doing these things,
Yeah,
you know,
feels good.
and I want to, you know, keep telling people the truth. And by the way, that is the translation of my name. Jen Shen Long, my Chinese name, is Spirit Wolf of Truth. So I'm really going to strive hard to give you the truth.
So we're going to give you the truth. That's like Kung Fu 101, part 1.
There you go.
Cool.
Thank you, Rocco.
Thank you.